Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, January the 6th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Bit of a forgettable game last night, Hockey Night in Canada across the country. Viewers saw the Toronto Maple Leafs defeat the Vancouver Canucks 5-0. And two things we noticed right away. Number one, we see now what it's like without Elias Pettersson. We saw it for 6 games back at the start of the season, and we've seen it again, and we don't want to see much more of it. The Canucks did not look dangerous, either at even strength or on the power play. They didn't look creative. They didn't look like a threat to score at all. So that's the first thing we noticed. The second thing we noticed is we saw the difference between a rebuilding team, i.e. the Canucks, and a Stanley Cup contender who's already done their rebuild, i.e. the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs look strong. They look fast. They look dangerous. They're creative. Their defense activated. They got good goaltending. Michael Hutchinson with the shutout. And you can miles apart right now, those two teams, even with Pettersson in the lineup. Hopefully it's a little bit closer, obviously, but you can see the difference. Maybe Toronto is where we want to be in 2, 3, 4 years when you have all the forwards maturing as scoring threats, when you have strong goaltending, which we have been getting, admittedly, in Markstrom in the last little bit. Maybe it's Demko in a few years. And then, of course, with D-men that can activate, join the play, that look dangerous, i.e. their Morgan Rileys of the world. Maybe that's our Quinn Hughes, who I'll get to in a second. So, tough game for Eric Branson, -5. Ben Hutton, -4. Some forwards like Roussel, Eriksson, and Besser were -2. So, overall, a tough game overall. Toronto outshot the Canucks. Canucks stayed with them in terms of hits and blocks and giveaways and takeaways, I should say. But, in essence, definitely a mismatch, so to speak, especially without Pettersson. Put Pettersson in the lineup, it's a little closer. Who knows if the Canucks win, and we will know. We'll see how they do. Hopefully Pettersson's in the lineup, and everyone's in the lineup when they have their rematch at the start of March, which I'll get to in a second. So that's all I want to say about last night's game. It's too bad, though, that the Canucks didn't put up more of a fight or make it more of a game, especially on a Hockey Night in Canada game where it was broadcast to at least half the country. I know some people were watching Nashville, Montreal at the same time, but regardless, put that in the rearview mirror, and the Canucks have a bit of time to lick their wounds, so to speak, as they don't play again, actually, until Thursday the 10th, and that's against Arizona, and then they have Florida on the 13th. So really, between now and next weekend, they only have one game. So it's a perfect time for Elias Pettersson to rest and recover. So, speaking of Elias Pettersson, we learned last night that he has a slight sprain to his MCL, to his right knee. So Travis Green said, I wouldn't say flippantly, but he kind of said casually, he expects a timeline of about 1 to 2 weeks recovery to be about right. So it wasn't the most professional, prognosis or diagnosis given ever, but at least give the Canucks hope that it could have been a lot worse. It could have been 3 to 6 weeks. It could have been 3 to 6 months if it was a tear of the MCL, but instead it's a slight sprain, as they say. So maybe Pettersson sits out the Arizona game on the 10th, and then he can come back either 13th against Florida or maybe 16th against Edmonton or 18th against Buffalo. So all those games at home. So, or at least I know all those games at home. So we'll see what happens, how quickly Pettersson can get back. Actually, now that I think about it, the Arizona game might be away, but I definitely know that Florida, Edmonton, and Buffalo are at home, but I can look that up later. It doesn't matter. The point is the Canucks don't play again until Thursday the 10th against Arizona, and then Sunday the 13th against Florida. So between now and then, only one game in the next week, a good chance for Pettersson to recoup and to heal. And Hockey Night in Canada actually led with an image, with video footage of him walking into the Canucks dressing room, arriving to the arena. And as I said, I posted on Twitter the video. It's hard to tell, how much pain he's in. He kind of was walking half, swag with swag. I was going to say swaggingly. I don't think that's a word. I don't know if it was a swagger or it was being cautious or maybe a combination of both, but he was walking relatively gingerly, a little bit slowly, but maybe that's how 20-year-olds walk these days. So it didn't look like he was in great pain, or maybe he was putting on a good show for the cameras, whatever it may be. I don't think there's a lot of concern about the Canucks forward. Except for the only concern was what Don Cherry said in the first intermission during Coach's Corner. He said that Pettersson has to stop looking for trouble, which is ridiculous in my eyes, but that's for another video, another time. So Elias Pettersson, hopefully he comes back very quickly. The other two things I want to talk about very quickly are defenseman related, and both came up during the second intermission of Hockey Night in Canada, and Nick Kypreos and Elliot Friedman talked about these things. Number one, the fact that Quinn Hughes, Elliot Friedman reported during the panel that there were internal conversations within Canucks management about whether or not to go to Quinn Hughes and his people, his agent and his family, asking Quinn Hughes to join the team soon, as in now, not wait until Michigan's season's over, but joining the team now, as in January after the World Juniors, which would be crazy, which would be a big surprise. According to Friedman, though, the Canucks decided not to venture that, not to pursue that, knowing that Quinn Hughes will be joining the lineup as early as March. So I find that very interesting, the fact that they would even consider that. But I guess in the big picture, there is no rush. We're going to have him for hopefully many, many years. And I looked at the schedule. The University of Michigan, many of you may know, are not doing so well. They're not even a 500. Well, they're 7-7-6, which is 500 in points percentage, but 6 games under 500 when it comes to wins and losses. So they're not going far. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the Frozen Four. And I looked at their schedule. Michigan's last game is Saturday, March the 2nd. So here's my hot take for today. I believe, my prediction is that Quinn Hughes will be playing for the Vancouver Canucks in the first week of March. And guess who our first game is after that? So we play on the 2nd or the 3rd. I think the 2nd or 3rd we play Vegas, so that's too early for Hughes to join us. We host the Toronto Maple Leafs on Wednesday, March the 6th. Imagine if that is Quinn Hughes' first game in a Canucks uniform at home, with a crowd already in a frenzy because it's Toronto, but playing in front of that crowd on Wednesday, March the 6th against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That week is actually a really exciting week. You got the Toronto on the 6th, Edmonton on the 7th, and then Vegas on the 9th or 10th. So that could be 3 really, really cool games for Quinn Hughes to start his NHL career against Toronto, against Edmonton, against Vegas. So that's my hot take. Michigan season ends on March the 2nd. The Canucks sign him on the 3rd or the 4th, and he's practicing and he's playing for the Vancouver Canucks on Wednesday, March the 6th, as they host the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wouldn't that be exciting? We already know that the Canucks aren't worried about burning his first year of his entry-level contract. They did that with Adam Gaudette last year. They did that with Brock Besser the year before. And the cool thing is, if Quinn Hughes joins us in the first week of March, or even the second week of March, if it's not so quick, that means that's actually 1, 2, 3 weeks ahead of when both Besser and Gaudette joined the team. They joined the team with less than 10 games left in the season. I think Besser got 10 games in. I think Gaudette only got 5, if my math serves me right. So something to think about, something to keep an eye on is Quinn Hughes joining the team as early as March the 6th. I didn't hear that from anyone. That's just my bold prediction. Lastly, I want to talk about Alex Edler, another D-man, going from not even a rookie D-man to our most experienced D-man. We know that his contract winds up this year. We also know that he's playing some of the best hockey he has in a number of years. And obviously, that's probably related, the fact that he's in a contract year. And there's been talks, as Nick Kypreos said, that the Canucks are going to go to Alex Edler's agent very soon, if they haven't done so already, to talk about perhaps an extension. Whether it's 2 years, whether it's 3 years, whether it's an increase or a decrease on the $5 million he makes right now. If he keeps playing like he is right now, it'll be an increase of $5 million. And I've talked about this in many other videos. There's a lot of factors at play. Will he waive his no trade clause? He's got a full no trade clause. Will he waive it to go to a contender? If so, if the Canucks are able to trade him, what do they get back? That's another topic for another video. And if he doesn't waive his no trade, if he does waive his no trade, then will the Canucks make a play to try and re-sign him in the summer? No guarantees that way. And if he doesn't waive his no trade, will the Canucks fans be all up in arms because we could have got some prospects, some assets for that either in the draft or in the term of prospects? Or will Canucks fans, say, well, he earned it, he earned that no trade, and he's earned the right to waive it, to not waive it as well. So that's going to be an interesting thing. But the fact that Nick Kypreos basically said there, before even any of the Canucks fans that heard it anywhere else, that the Canucks are looking to have talks with Edler's agent as early as this week to talk about an extension. So an interesting story to keep an eye on. I think both of those stories are very interesting. The extension of Alex Edler potentially, and the debut of Quinn Hughes later this season in the spring, or at least late winter at the start of March. That will be fascinating to watch as well. So maybe there's not going to be a lot of changes. Well, who knows, between draft and trades and next year training camp. I was going to say maybe we're going to see more flux and more change on the D than in the forwards, but only time will tell. So who knows? Maybe next year, if they re-sign Edler, then you're looking at the left side of Edler, of Quinn Hughes and Olli Juolevi, with Ben Hutton in there as well in the mix. And then you're maybe looking at the right side of Tanev, Stetcher, and someone else, obviously, whether it's I don't think it'll be a Biega or a Pouliot or a Gudbranson, and Gudbranson. So maybe that's what we're looking at next year. So a top 6 of, like I said, on the left side it could be Edler, Hughes, Juolevi. On the right side it could be Tanev, Stetcher, and Goodbranson. So obviously with Hughes and Juolevi in there, that's a big improvement over guys like Derek Pouliot, who's struggling, or Marco Delzato, who can't get in the lineup, or whoever it may be. So some things to think about. A lot of things to think about. But I kind of want to distract myself from last night's poor performance and talk about three off-ice things, issues in Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, and Alex Edler. Canucks fans, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. We got a few days to talk about things as the Canucks, like I said, do not play until Thursday the 10th against Arizona. What did you think of last night's game? Do you think Toronto's for real? You can talk about that. You can talk about the impact that Elias Pettersson has, and obviously the impact it has when he's not in the lineup. You talk about Quinn Hughes. Do you agree with me that he could play as early as March? And Alex Edler, what do you want to do? Do you want to re-sign him? Do you want to extend him? Do you want to trade him? Do you want to even ask him? Do you bother asking him to waive his no-trade clause? And how far down the rabbit hole do you go that way? Lots to talk about. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. As always, subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Enjoy your day. We'll be checking in tomorrow with some more probably off-ice stuff, but we will see. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.